He was not born into freedom. He was born into a system designed to limit him. In a land divided by race, where opportunity was controlled and voices were silenced, a young boy grew up witnessing injustice as a daily reality. That boy would become a man, and that man would become a movement. His name was Nelson Mandela. He was not just angry at the system. He understood it, educated, determined, focused. He chose a path not of silence, but of resistance. At a time when speaking up could cost you everything, Mandela stood firm. He joined others who believed that South Africa could be different, equal, free, just. But the system pushed back. Protests were crushed, voices were suppressed, and the government made one thing clear: anyone who challenged apartheid would pay the price. Mandela knew the risk. And still, he continued. From peaceful protests to stronger resistance, his mission remained the same: freedom for his people. But then came the moment that would change everything. He was arrested, not for a crime of violence, but for daring to believe in equality. The trial was watched by the world, and when he stood to speak, he did not beg for freedom. He made a statement that would echo through history. He said he was prepared to die for the ideal of a democratic and free society. And with that, he was sentenced. Life imprisonment. Years passed, then decades. Inside prison walls, the world moved on. But Mandela did not break. He endured hard labor, isolation, silence. But even in captivity, his spirit remained free. Outside those prison walls, something began to grow. His name became a symbol of resistance, a symbol of hope. Across South Africa and across the world, people began to demand change. Free Mandela. It was no longer just a name. It was a movement. And then, after 27 long years, the unthinkable happened. He walked free, not as a broken man, but as a leader. The same system that imprisoned him now had to face him. But Mandela did something unexpected. He did not call for revenge. He called for unity, for forgiveness, for rebuilding a nation together. And in 1994, history was made. Nelson Mandela became the first black president of South Africa, a man who once had no freedom, now led a nation into it. His leadership was not about power, it was about healing, bringing together people who had been divided for generations, showing the world that strength is not in revenge, but in reconciliation. Mandela's life was not easy. It was sacrifice, it was pain, it was endurance, but above all, it was purpose. From a young boy in a divided land, to a prisoner of conscience, to a president who changed history, Nelson Mandela became more than a man. He became a legacy, a reminder that even in the darkest systems, light can rise. For 27 years, the world changed. Governments rose and fell. Nations evolved. Generations grew up. But inside a prison cell, time stood still. And yet, Mandela never lost his vision. Not once did he allow bitterness to define him. Not once did he let anger become his legacy. Instead, he chose something far more difficult: forgiveness. And that choice changed a nation forever. And even today, his story still challenges us to stand for what is right, even when it is not easy, to choose unity, even when division feels stronger. So the question is, what would you stand for? If this story inspired you, like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories that shape our world. Because history is not just something we learn, it is something we live